Thank you for joining us, and welcome to Scripps Research Fully Interactive Resources for Students and Teachers, or FIRST. My name is Rosie Alvaran-Seckler, and I will be your moderator today. Scripps Research, if you're not familiar with us, is one of the largest nonprofit private biomedical research institutes in the nation, and our mission is to develop the next generation of medicines and diagnostics to address the most present health problems in the world, such as COVID-19. If you're visiting us for the first time, I want to encourage you to visit our website after the webinar to learn more about us, and feel free also to reach out to us. We are very proud to be able to continue to support our community of educators and students, which we normally do in person via these webinars. For today, we have a presentation by Alena Vasquez, who is a graduate student in the Engel Laboratory at Scripps Research. She's going to be doing a chemistry demonstration on color changing cabbage, and also talking to us about her journey into science and her current research work. Before we move forward, I want to touch on some housekeeping items. Just as a reminder, all the attendees or participants have been muted and the videos have been disabled. The format of the presentation today is a 10 to 12 minute demo by Alena, followed by 10 to 15 Q&A session. To type in your question, I want you to go to the bottom of your screen where there's a button that says Q&A, and you can type your questions at any moment, but we're gonna be taking them on the second half of this presentation. That's the only way that you can really interact with the moderators and with Alena. So I encourage you at this moment to take a look again at the bottom of your screen and look for this button. We also want to interact with you, so we're going to be posting questions to you, and we're going to be using polls. And I think this is a good opportunity to practice that. And you're going to see the first poll appearing on your screen. I'm going to ask that you take it promptly, and I'm going to share the results with you every time. And so right now we want to know the composition of our audience. And so it's going to be asking you about who you are and why you're here today. So if you can please take the poll, and it should be showing me the answers soon. I hope. It's not showing me the answers. Oh, right now. Right now I'm gonna share the results. So most of you are high school students, welcome. And thank you for joining us again. You like science, that's good. You're here today because you want to watch an experiment, and also you want to listen to a scientist's journey. So Alena is gonna take that in mind when she starts her presentation and also answer the questions. Thank you so much for that. And I think with that, we can move on to Alena.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Rosie, for that kind introduction. I know that we're in a big time of crisis right now, and there's this threat of coronavirus that is trying to keep us all isolated from each other. But it's really amazing that we were able to all be here today, uniting over our interest in science. And so thank you again for being here. As Rosie said, I'm a graduate student at Scripps Research. I work in the Engel Lab, and I'm an organic chemist. And organic chemistry is simply the study of carbon. And I'm sure all of you who have ever looked at a periodic table are probably thinking, why is carbon so special? It's a single atom. Why does it have an entire field of science dedicated to its study? And that's a really good question. Carbon makes up absolutely everything. Our bodies are made of carbon. The food we eat is made of carbon. The trees that produce oxygen are made of carbon. And so carbon is a really, really important molecule. And when different carbons come together, they make molecules. And these carbon-based molecules are used as like drug therapeutics. A carbon-based molecule will be a treatment for coronavirus. There are current treatments for cancer, for inflammation, for all kinds of things. And these carbon-based molecules are a lot like Legos. And I have a little Lego clown here. Carbon-based molecules are a lot like this, where each one of these Legos is kind of a different carbon. And they've all come together to make something. In this case, a birthday clown. I think says happy birthday in Hungarian, I'm not sure. And you know, the arrangement of these carbons is really important, because if I took like this carbon and took it off, this clown would no longer have a face. It wouldn't be the same Lego molecule that it was before. So the way that we put these carbons together is really, really important. Nature is very good at making these molecules, and people are not great at it yet. Like for example, you know, this Lego molecule is maybe 50, 80 pieces. It took me like an hour and a half to put it together. If nature was going to do it, nature would be done before I even opened the box. Nature's really, really good at building molecules. So my work as an organic chemist investigates new ways to put these carbons together so that we can make these molecules easier, we can make them cheaper, we can make them faster, and if we're able to make these molecules in a more efficient way, then we're able to offer like drugs for cheaper and to more people. So it's really, really important. When we're thinking about how to put carbons together and how to build new molecules, we're thinking about doing chemical reactions. And a chemical reaction is just taking one thing and turning it into another. In this case, putting two carbons together. But there are other kinds of chemical reactions. And today we're going to talk about one. We're going to talk about an acid-base reaction. And all of you are currently doing an acid-base reaction. Your stomach is actually full of concentrated acid. So every time you eat something, when you digest it, you're doing an acid-base reaction. Many of you have probably also made baking soda vinegar volcanoes, or have at least seen that, or have done like Mentos and Coca-Cola. Those are all acid-base reactions. And those are special kinds of acid-base reactions because they release carbon dioxide. They release a gas, which is what's responsible for all of the bubbling and the fizzing and the overflowing. But not all acid-base reactions have to do that. That's not a requirement of an acid-base reaction. The only requirements of an acid-base reaction are that you have a molecule that has a hydrogen. In this context, we call it a proton. And we have another molecule that will take that proton away. The molecule with the proton is known as an acid. And the molecule that takes it away is known as a base. And so we don't have to make gas. The baking soda vinegar experiment, it's easy to see that we've done that acid-base reaction because we have the bubbling and we have the fizzing. But if we do an acid-base reaction that doesn't produce carbon dioxide, we need to think of a different way to measure that it happened. And one way to do that is with an indicator. That's actually what we're going to do today. An indicator will indicate that the reaction has happened by changing color. So let's go ahead and get started with that. If you are doing this at home, all you need is a red cabbage, and you just need a couple leaves of that cabbage. And you can just throw them into the blender with some water. You don't need a whole lot for this. A little bit goes a long way. It's going to get really loud here for a second as I blend this up. Okay, so now we have this like purple liquid with a bunch of chunks floating in it. I'm just going to take a strainer and filter off those chunks. This is really fun purple liquid. Mine's pretty dark, but if it's a lighter purple, that's okay. If you're doing this at home and it's blue, that's okay. If you're doing it at home and it's a color that's not purple or blue, you might want to redo it and just check where you got your water from. It should be purple or blue. Okay, I'm going to pour some into these little cups, just a little bit. And so what we've done here is we have extracted a molecule from the cabbage. We've extracted an indicator from the cabbage, and that molecule is called anthocyanin. And we're going to do an acid-base reaction with that. So here I have some vinegar. This is a common household acid. It's made of acetic acid. I'm going to add it to, and it turned pink. It turned pink. And so we've done an acid-base reaction. We've taken that anthocyanin, that molecule that makes the cabbage purple, and we've added a hydrogen to it. We've made a whole new molecule, and that molecule in solution is pink. We can also do the base part of the acid-base reaction, where we take a hydrogen away from the anthocyanin. And so I have drain cleaner here. I have powdered drain cleaner, so I made a solution of it. I'm going to add that. And this one turned green. And it turned green because what we've done here is we've taken a hydrogen away from the anthocyanin and made a new molecule. And so this is the neutral, the acidic, and the basic. In order to understand really how this happens, we need to understand how color works and how we see color. The molecule anthocyanin, it absorbs light, and it absorbs every frequency of light and every color of light, and it reflects back purple. So it absorbs everything except for purple. It reflects back purple, and that's what we see. When we add a hydrogen to it, we've now made a different molecule. And that molecule can now absorb every single color except for pink, and it reflects pink back at us, and that's what we see. When we take the hydrogen away from anthocyanin, again, we've made a different molecule, and that molecule absorbs all colors of light except for green, and it reflects green back at us, so that's what we see. You can try other things around your house. You know, if you don't want your kids playing with drain cleaner, other household bases would be things like dish soap, laundry detergent. You were able to find ammonia before people panic bought it from the stores. Ammonia works really well too. If you're going to use drain cleaner, just dilute it down a little bit and try to find one that doesn't have bleach in it. Other things that you can do, since you have your cabbage water, you can make what's called a pH indicator. So in the lab, when we're trying to see if an acid-base reaction worked, we're not there extracting cabbage and pouring cabbage into our reactions. We're using pH strips, which is really the same thing. So I'm going to show you how to make those. You can just take a paper towel or a coffee filter or something absorbent and soak it in the cabbage juice. And you're going to want to leave this to dry maybe for like an hour or so. I'm going to hang it up here. I made some last night, so I have dried pH strips here. And to this, there's two ways of using them. You can add something directly to the strip, or you can dip the strip. I'm going to add lemon juice to it, and I'll do that over this cup here. So I hope you guys can see that. So I'm going to add lemon juice, give it a chance to absorb. And see, my paper towel turned pink. And it did that because now that purple molecule, instead of being in the water, is now coated on the surface of my paper towel, of my pH strip. And it turned pink. So does that mean that lemon juice is acidic or basic? There should be a poll coming out to explain that. So while you're answering the poll, when I was kind of researching how to put this together and what I should talk about, I came across a diet called the alkaline diet, which is a fad diet that says like your body should be at a more alkaline pH. And then it had a list of foods that are supposed to promote like basicity in your body. Lemon juice was one of the basic food groups based on this pH strip. Is it a basic food group? Do we have the results of that poll?
No, I know the poll already went up and we're waiting for the results. Let's see now. So most students correctly said 98% as acid. And we had another question. What are you enjoying the most? And they saying watching the experiment.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so it turned pink. So if you're eating a lot of lemon juice, it's not going to make your body more alkaline because it's acidic. It's not going going to make your body more basic. It's going to make it more acidic. And so, I don't know, a fun experiment that you could do at home with your kids is to find that chart of acidic and basic food groups and just go out and test them, because most of that chart was wrong. And here's a scientific way that you can investigate that. Okay, so what else can we learn from acid-base chemistry? One thing that we can learn about is global warming and ocean acidification. I'm sure some of you guys have heard that before. As the Earth warms and temperature increases, so does the amount of carbon dioxide in the water. And carbon dioxide is a little bit acidic, and so it makes the ocean more acidic. It turns out if we were to add an indicator to the ocean, it would turn it more pink. And so as the ocean becomes more acidic, the available food for corals and shellfish, it's called calcium carbonate, is not soluble anymore. It's not available for those animals to eat, and they get sick. Corals start bleaching. Shellfish don't have enough food to make their shells. And it's really, really bad, and we're seeing the effects of this every year. And acid-base chemistry is one way to explain that. And so global warming is obviously really bad, and here's some science that kind of puts that into context and how that shows like the importance of going out and voting for people who are committed to reducing our carbon footprint. Alternatively, I don't know if you guys do this, but when I'm watching cartoons or I'm playing games or watching science fiction, I like to think about how these things would happen in real life. And one thing that I've thought a lot about, because I'm a budding Pokemon trainer, is shiny Pokemon. And shiny Pokemon, if you're not familiar with Pokemon, are exactly the same as regular Pokemon, they're just a different color. And I have Clefable here to help me demonstrate that. So this is normal Clefable. This is not shiny Clefable. Shiny Clefable looks pretty much the same, but has green ears. And I think one way that we could explain this is with this kind of acid-base chemistry. Maybe the Clefable has pigments in the ears, has molecules in the ears that at one pH are brown, but maybe the shiny Clefable was born with some mutation where the pH is regulated differently in the ear. It's regulated, maybe it's more basic, maybe it's a little bit more acidic, but the structure of that molecule changes and now doesn't absorb or now doesn't reflect brown light, now it reflects green light. And so that's one possible explanation for shiny Pokemon. So I hope I've shown you guys some of the importance of acid-base chemistry and a couple fun activities that you can do at home. The cabbage water will kind of go bad over time, but the pH strips you can store for a little while. So if you're ever curious about whether something is acidic or basic, you can just pull those out and test it. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you have about chemistry, about Pokemon, about graduate school. Thank you guys again for being here. I'm gonna take my hat off.
Thank you, Alena. That was really good. I love the chemistry magic. So before I go into the attendees' questions, can you tell them a little bit about how got you interested in science in the first place? You know, was in middle school and high school, and why a PhD?
Yeah, so I think I've always been a little bit interested in science. I've always been really interested in animals and how they work and medicine, but I was never really encouraged to pursue science. And when I was in college, I started going as a veterinary major because I thought, you know, that would be something that I enjoyed. And as a vet major, you have to take a lot of biology classes and you have to take general chemistry. And I was really bored of my biology classes, but really interested in my chemistry ones. And so I decided to start working in an organic chemistry lab just to see if organic chemistry was something that I enjoyed doing as much as I enjoyed learning about it. And here I am. I haven't looked back.
That's good. I have one question here for you. They didn't understand exactly the word, the molecule that it's in cabbage, and we can have it later on, you know, spelled out. But if you could just repeat it for the students.
Yeah, totally. So the molecule that's in cabbage that's responsible for color is called anthocyanin. Anthocyanin. And that's the indicator. So one way you could find that is just to Google like red cabbage indicator, and that molecule should come out too.
That's good. I have a question here if we can post this later on, and I want to let everybody know that yes, this video is gonna be posted on our website and more information. I'll give more information at the end. Somebody here says, I wonder how color works on digital devices. Would it work the same way as in nature? Do you know this?
I'm not sure. I know our eyes see whatever is reflected at us, whatever is emitted, but I'm not sure how like LEDs or computer screens work, but I assume that they're emitting whatever color of light, and that's what we see.
Right. What
I'm not
else?
that kind of scientist.
Somebody wants to know if she or he can draw you as a Pokemon trainer.
They can what?
Apparently they know how to draw, and somebody wants to draw you as a Pokemon trainer or Pokemon.
Oh my god! Yeah, that would be super fun.
Yes. Let's see. Is anthocyanin? Wait, the question went away. I'm sorry. Is anthocyanin like an electron since it pulled away the proton? That's the question.
So anthocyanin is a special molecule because we saw that it can act both as an acid, in which case the drain cleaner, the base, took away a proton, and it can also act as a base, where we saw it take a proton from the vinegar and from the lemon juice. And so we call it amphoteric, which is where it's acting as both. Water is also amphoteric. You can protonate water and you can take hydrogens away from water, but water doesn't have a color. And it's sites of electron density that would take hydrogens away, and then, yeah, so like basic sites would have a lot of electron density. I hope I answered that question.
Okay. We have a lot of questions about Pokemons. I'm just trying to, they want to know what's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, my favorite Pokemon. That's a really hard one. Growing up, because it reminded me of my cats. And I thought it was really cool that Eevee could change it could evolve into everything. So I have to say Eevee. That's a hard one.
They have a question about anthocyanin, if it can only react in liquid state or also in gases and solid states.
I don't know about gas state, but it was not in liquid phase on the pH paper. So I know that it can react, at least absorbed onto paper. If it was like a solid, like a crystal of table salt, it would react, but just on the surface. You'd have to break up the surface to get all of the molecules to react. Solution chemistry is really good because those molecules are floating around individually. Whereas if they're in a crystal, they're so tightly packed together that your acid can't get past the first ones, and it takes some time to break it up and pierce the top of it. So some of it would react in solid phase. I don't know about the gas phase.
They want to know.
I assume it would, but I don't know what that color change would be like, because molecules. So in the liquid phase, they absorb differently than when they're in the solid phase or when they're in the gas phase. And so the color of anthocyanin in the solid phase might actually be different than anthocyanin in the liquid phase.
They want to know where to find purple cabbage. I think they might have not seen it, but this is readily available, I would say, at any grocery store, right?
I don't know if it's readily available right now, because when I went to Ralph's, I got 1 of 2 red cabbages left in the store. But in not pandemic times, it's readily available in the produce section.
Okay.
You can also do this experiment with grape juice. You can do it with blueberries. You can do it with any kind of darkly colored fruit or vegetable.
Okay. And they want to know if there is a line, and I guess it's like a spectrum to tell how acidic and basic. And there is, so, but can you please answer that question?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
If there's a line, or I'm gonna put the word spectrum to tell how acidic or basic something is.
So there's a scale, like, do you mean like the pH scale?
Right, I
Because
think
we quantify acidity and basicity based on, like, if we mix them with water, how much they either protonate or deprotonate water. And we can measure that, and we call it the pH scale. And so at really low pH, like pH of 0 or 1 or 2, that's going to be things like our stomach acid or battery acid that's super, super corrosive. And then on the high end, we have pH of like 14, and that would be things like drain cleaner, things that are really, really basic.
They want to know if you know of any other carbon reactions that you will see a color change like this.
You'll see them in redox reactions, so reduction oxidation reactions, and you see that, like an example of that is like if you watch like any kind of crime show and they're investigating and there's blood splatter and they're checking to see if it's blood, they spray something on it and it turns like bright blue or bright purple. The thing that they're spraying is luminol, and it reacts with blood and does a redox reaction, and so high energy electrons are moving from one molecule to another, and that creates light. And so that's another one people will see. But there's a bunch. Anytime that you change the structure of a molecule, you're changing its ability to absorb and reflect light.
There's a cool question here. So if bases and acids will cancel out, if you were to pour the pink into the yellow, everything will go back to purple? That's the question.
So that actually depends on the strength of the acid and the strength of the base, and then how much are there. So if it's like an equal number of acid and an equal number of base, and they're both about the same strength, then they'll cancel out. But if one's really stronger than the other, then like if there's more base than acid, it'll be more basic. I think in this case, because the base is stronger than the acid, it'll stay yellow, but I don't know. So we go back to purple, and we wind up in blue. So yeah, pretty much neutralized it, and then it's a little bit more on the basic side because it's blue.
Yeah, but that was a very good question, and really cool to see. So you have, I think you have a soda water bottle or something. Did you use the soda? Because they're asking me questions about what would that.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking of like other things to test around your house if you were bored. And soda would be one that you could try. This is just tonic water. So you can try, this is a little bit acidic. It's not as pink as the lemon juice, so it's not as acidic as the lemon juice. You'll see the difference in those pinks.
Yeah.
It's not as acidic as lemon juice, but it's a little bit acidic. So you could try soda water, you can try coffee, tea to test the acidity of it. If you have any fruit juices around your house, you could try that too. You can try different sodas and see if maybe some sodas are more acidic than others. Yeah.
So if you put a pH strip in water, what color should it be?
It's neutral, so it shouldn't really change. Where did my pH strips go? That was just plain water. So if you just put it in water, because water is neutral. San Diego water is not pure water. San Diego water has like chlorine in it, it has carbonate in it, it has a bunch of other stuff, so I think it's actually a little bit more on the basic side. But if it was pure water, that color shouldn't really change. This turned a little bit bluer. It's hard to see, but it doesn't really change because water is pretty much at neutral.
Yeah, that was a good question. So they have a question here. So originally when you poured the cleaner in the purple juice, it immediately went to green, but then slowly went to yellow. And so there's a question about that.
Yeah, so that's actually why I suggested not having drain cleaner with bleach in it. Because the thing that turns it green is the acid-base reaction, but there's a little bit of bleach in the drain cleaner. And bleach is a really strong oxidant, so that redox reaction when I was talking about, like the blood and the luminol, that same reaction happens, it's just very slow. And so over time, the anthocyanin with minus a hydrogen is also being oxidized. It's being reacted with the bleach, which is why it kind of slowly changes to yellow. It's a really good question. But if you have drain cleaner with a lot of bleach, then that reaction will be faster and it'll turn more yellow.
Very good. And does this reaction depend on temperature? Would you see different colors depending on the temperature?
No. No. You might see the bleach react faster if you're doing the drain cleaner with bleach in it, but the colors would be the same because they still be the same molecule.
So a question I think it's interesting. So if the soda water, it's exposed and it loses the carbon over a period of time, will that change the color or the reaction?
Yeah, it will. So, like when I was talking about ocean acidification, it's the carbon dioxide that is making the ocean more and more acidic. And it's carbon dioxide that gives your soda its fizziness. And so if you have flat soda, it's going to be less acidic than like fresh soda, because the fresh soda is going to have more carbon dioxide in it, which is a little bit more acidic. It's a good question. And you can try that out at home too, with your pH strip for your cabbage indicator.
There's a question here. I think it's important to acknowledge because maybe some people are still confused. So they want to know if blue and green color liquids mean more basic and pink and red mean more acidic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So neutral, we're going to have purple, and then more acidic, they're going to be more pink. And then basic is going to go from blue to green.
So another question, what's the most common reaction, acidic or basic, that people can come across without knowing it?
Most common reaction that you can come across without knowing it. That's a hard one, actually, because I think the most common reaction that like our bodies do is like cellular respiration, so breathing is the most common, and that's actually a combination of acid-base chemistry and redox chemistry. So I would say that those two are probably the most common. But you're seeing chemical reactions every day. Our bodies work because of chemical reactions. Every time that we move, we're doing a chemical reaction. Every time that we breathe, every time that we eat something, we're doing chemical reactions. And a lot of them are acid-base or redox.
And then some clarification that I think it's important. Here you're seeing a color change because there is an indicator. I just want to clarify, and Alena, you can go on these, that it's not always pink and green. It's just you have an indicator, and most reactions will be colorless or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, most reactions are colorless. So if we took, so if we took, like for example, just the drain cleaner, and we added vinegar to it, this is gonna fizz. It's brown because of the apple cider vinegar, but there's no real color change. It's the same color as the apple cider vinegar. And so that acid-base reaction still happened, but we can't see it as it is. We can only visualize it when we add the indicator to it. And so the indicator told us, oh, okay, that reaction happened.
And there's a question, what is an indicator?
Indicators can have different colors. So the one in Cabbage, the anthocyanin, is purple, but one that you'll see like in your high school laboratories or in your Gen Chem college laboratories is phenolphthalein. And that one is pink and will change color from like dark purple to clear, depending on the pH. And so different indicators have different colors too. But it just helps us be able to visualize that a reaction took place, and with our pH strips can tell us like what pH we're at without having to, it's just a really easy way to do that.
I see that we are running out of time, and I want to be mindful to everybody's time, and also I don't want the Zoom call to end without properly, finalizing these. But I want everybody to know that we're going to be answering all your questions on our webpage, and we will send more information to your teachers, or the students in the audience. We will send the information to your teachers where you can get this. I think we can conclude with maybe some advice that you can give to students if they are very interested in science and they think they want to go into research.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in science, I encourage you to go out and do as much science as you can, regardless of what anybody tells you you're capable of, because you're capable of everything. And so if you're interested in science, I encourage you to do these types of reactions at home. I encourage you to look at places like Scripps or UCSD. I know a number of you are in LA, so to look at UCLA and see if you can find research internships for high school students or for undergrads, and just do as much research as you can. Because it's very different to learn about something in your classroom and to actually do it. And I met a lot of people that maybe didn't get such good grades in the classroom, but loved doing chemistry so much that they found a career in it. And I've seen the opposite, where people get really, really good grades in their classes and they think it's the most interesting thing in the world, they think it's the coolest thing in the world, and they get in the lab and they hate it. They hate everything about it. They hate wearing a lab coat, they hate doing chemical reactions, they just think it's more interesting to read about it. And so do as much as you possibly can, in as many different areas as you can too, because the work that we do in an organic chemistry lab is very different than the work that would be done in a biochemistry lab, or in a physical organic chemistry lab, or in a computational lab.
Before we go, is there anything else that you want to say about acids and bases, like to summarize this?
I don't want to summarize acids and bases, but I do want to pitch really quickly that Scripps does have a high school internship program. I'm not sure the status of it for this summer, but we have one, and then we also have research opportunities for undergraduates. And so if you're interested in doing research in chemistry or in biology, look at our website and look at those opportunities, because they're here. We have them here.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And we do have it at both campuses, both in Florida and California, and there's more information on our website. I think then at this point, we're gonna have our last poll. It's gonna show up on your screen, and we would appreciate if you can take it, just so we know how we did. And I also would like to let you know that after we finish the call, you're gonna be prompted to answer a survey. And if you like this and you like to hear of other topics you're interested in, please take the survey, and at the end, you're gonna be able to suggest new topics. Also, if you like this, we are gonna be having more of these until the end of the semester, every Tuesday and Thursday. On Tuesdays, we have panels, and the next one is on issues of diversity in science next Tuesday. And then on Thursday next week, we're gonna have another science demo, this time on biology, on how to extract DNA from strawberries or anything else, any fruits or vegetables that you have in your house. I don't know if we're gonna be sharing the results of this poll with you. I can do that really quickly before we end the call. Let's see. So thank you everybody for taking the poll. It seems like you liked the demonstration, and we're very excited that you did and that you understood, yes, and you were motivated. So again, we appreciate all of you being here today and joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you.